So happy Purim, because that's this weekend. It's Jewish Halloween. And he's a Supergirl guy who listens to our podcast. So, Hey, Dove, you're awesome.
Hey.
Jewish Halloween?
Jewish Halloween, Purim.
The fuck is that?
Grown-up, human, comic, people! Grown-up, human, comic, people!
Welcome back to the show, everybody. We it's been what's it, a couple weeks since we did
couple
the last
weeks,
show?
but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is the show. Welcome to Grown Up Human Comic People. We're back here. We're doing a special episode today. We don't have all of our people, but because many of them were victims of the weekend.
St. Patrick's Day weekend, by the way.
Yes, it is. It's the 12th today or the 11th.
Yeah, 12th.
12th.
Today's the 12th.
Okay, yeah. So, this is episode Logan of Grown Up Human Comic People. Hit that intro music. Or wait, no, we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, what?
Yeah, we do.
I don't know. No,
Not like that.
Not like that. Yeah, I totally. Yeah, sorry.
He put something funny in front of it.
Yeah. So let's go around the table. Introduce people who are here. To my left, Becky.
Hi.
J-Man.
Hey.
Greg.
That's me.
I'm Jared. We're the humans. Welcome to the show. Yeah, so we're gonna. Fucking Jesus, that's wild. You can find us at grownuphumans.com, epicastnetwork.com /grownuphumans, iTunes, Google Music, Stitcher, Libsyn, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud at Grown Up Human Comic People, and Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram at Grown Up Humans. Also, go down to Southside Comics and get all your comic book needs filled down there. Visit Dan, tell him that we sent you, and that's 1931 East Carson Street. And we also have what's the Midnight Rose? Gonna talk about some Midnight Rose stuff. Greg, Jamie?
Yeah, I'll do it. The Midnight Rose. You can. This is a band comprised of 3/4 of the people here, and it's also 3/4 of the band's myself, Jared, Chuck, who's never here, but that's all right. And you can find out more about us on Reverb Nation and hear some stuff there, as well as YouTube. I guess Twitter, whenever we throw something up on there. Facebook, not that Facebook does us any favors, but anyway, yeah. Applied for some festivals. You might see us around sometime this summer.
Yep. And we're having an album coming out, too. So once we release that, then we'll be out and about playing and stuff. Mm-hmm. We got MetaMesh. Want to do a MetaMesh plug, Beck?
Yeah. MetaMesh is a pretty great nonprofit 501c3 organization in Pittsburgh. We are located out of Allentown. We bridge the digital divide by bringing free public Wi-Fi to those who might not otherwise have it. And 1/4 of people in Pittsburgh and many, many more in the state of Pennsylvania, 2.2 million, don't have internet access. So I think that we are providing a great need.
Yeah. Well, they classify it as a basic human right now. So
it is, by both the UN and the Supreme Court.
Yep.
Really?
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's.
Then why don't we all have it? I don't have it.
It's a.
I
don't know.
All people have food. I don't know.
Comcast and Verizon don't have powerful lobbyists or anything.
Yeah.
I do want to say one thing. There's a Best of Pittsburgh Readers poll going on right now,
Yes.
2017. I think we've linked it to our site. Definitely nominate, if you want, Radical Trivia, Midnight Rose, MetaMesh Wireless Communities for Nonprofit, and Grown Up Human Comic People as the best podcast. If you want. I'm just putting it out there that you can do that.
I think because I did go on there and do that. I can't disclose whether I self-voted or not, but I don't know if there was a thing on a specific category for podcasts, but you can do write-ins on.
You can do write-ins.
So whatever the closest category was,
right.
I wrote in, podcast / Grown Up Human Comic
and they
People.
have categories for nearly everything.
Yeah.
So
Are there really no? It wasn't the podcast category?
I don't think
there
so.
wasn't.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a difference between the best of for the Pittsburgh Magazine and the best of City Paper.
Best of the Berg is Pittsburgh Magazine.
Pittsburgh Magazine.
And this is City Paper.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other one, when The Best of the Berg, you'll see it because it's pages of very, very specific things, like best informational podcast, best comedy, and you're just like,
Yeah.
what?
That's the City Paper one?
No,
I,
it's
I,
Pittsburgh
that's the
Magazine.
Pittsburgh Magazine.
Okay,
This is City Paper we're talking
Yeah.
about.
okay. I didn't even know. I must have gone to the shorter one because.
Yeah, that is the shorter one.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So and I'm glad you said that because I totally forgot to go to radicaltrivia.com. I'm so shitty at business stuff. If you want to go out in Pittsburgh during a weeknight or something, and you want to have a good time with your friends and play a fun game and get sworn at by some assholes on microphone, go to radicaltrivia.com.
Yeah.
And check out where you can find your local trivia show. We have a bunch of them around town. It's a lot of fun. And,
It is a lot of fun.
You can get drunk and answer questions and feel smart or feel stupid as fuck, whatever.
Monkey and I went to an undisclosed location bar the other day, and the most listless, boring trivia was going on, ironically with a lot of people, but it was just the most boring.
You can say the name of the trivia if you want.
I actually don't know the name, but it was at Rivertown Poorhouse.
Oh, okay.
So the guy was just like, I'm sorry, the answer's XYZ. And they were like, oh. And I just, what? This guy has no energy. Go to Radical Trivia. It's awesome.
Yeah, we try to bring some energy to the room. It's not your boring old trivia. You're probably going to hear something about like some butt stuff or like right off the bat.
Punching in the taint is usually what I hear.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or fisting. So whatever stuff like that. You know, like I mean, like you'll know exactly what it's like as soon as you get there. You know, right off the bat we hit you with whatever.
Yeah, didn't you offend someone?
Oh yeah. She wrote you a note, right?
Yeah. So I was doing the Oaks Theater in Oakmont, and there's a pretty loyal crowd out there. Everybody goes every week. Actually, last week we had like 96 people in the theater. There was a
Whoa.
ton of people.
Jeez.
Wow.
I'm not sure if it's because the week before this happened.
Probably. They wanted to see the offensive,
Yeah, there were like
famous.
Yeah, there were three older
show.
ladies there, and they stayed to about halfway, and then they went out. They left, and I went outside, and Joe, the manager, shout out to Joe. He's like, dude, look at this, and on one of the little pieces of paper they had written, cocky, vulgar, socially unacceptable, too loud.
And on the opposite side, where do you find these people, right?
Yeah, so where'd you find this guy? Yeah, and he was like, dude, good job.
Yeah. So wait, I'm sorry, I missed it. How old were these women?
Oh, I don't know. They're probably maybe like late 50s, early 60s.
Yeah. Ugh.
They're just like three older ladies, and the
Old
funny-
enough to know better.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, like,
Well, they wrecked the economy. What do they have to say?
well, if you get through the rules, in like I've already said, like I will fucking fist you if you cheat on this at this game. If you stay for another an hour after
Yeah.
that, like, and then you're like, oh, this isn't, fuck you. Like
Yeah.
if you hit the rules and you're like, you know what, maybe this isn't for me, just go the fuck home then. Don't sit there and like stew in your whatever. There's people who just want to be offended about shit.
Did you bring your Conan sword?
Not that time, no. I should have.
I told him. She should.
I don't bring the real one anymore. There was a mishap.
There was, because I went to one of your trivias and you had a big bandage on your hand.
I still have a scar on my hand from that.
I was thinking you could do like a Conan the Librarian skit, like, sorry, I don't know if this answer is right, and, then, and just cut them in half.
Cut a book in half.
No, yeah.
Then the librarian?
Well, yeah, from UHF.
Oh, yeah. He's
the-
going to teach them about the Dewey Decimal System or else.
Right, yeah. The guy
Yeah.
shows up, he's like, these books are a little late, sorry. And he just gets sliced right down the middle.
I like UHF.
I was thinking it's the people were talking too loud, and like Arnold just comes up behind him and goes, "Enough talk."
Nice.
So let's go to what Jin's doing real fast. Fill out this episode with a little bit of stuff. What's everybody doing?
Shit, I thought we were doing the Chris. I didn't think
We
of
can
what
do
Jim's doing.
both.
Well, yeah, I figured
Okay,
both.
yeah.
Yes. I mean,
Well, somebody else take the floor.
okay. Becky, Jerman, what are you watching, looking at, reading?
Let's see. Well, I just pre-ordered, oh gosh, the new Aftershock book. What's her face in the Egret? It's it
looks like a kid's book, kind of like the.
Well, it's
illustrations.
actually illustrated almost like a Victorian woman's magazine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But so one of my friends works for the Nerdist and got a Eleanor in the Egret by Sam Keith and John Layman. It's an Aftershock book. It's coming out in late April. He said it's just an amazing book. It's not nearly what you think, and I respect his opinion, so I pre-ordered it. Dan got me a copy. It really looks like children's nursery. At least the illustrations look like a children's nursery book.
Yeah,
But
that preview's been in the back of like a bunch of Aftershock
Yeah,
books.
exactly.
I read it once, and I've but it's been in like probably 10 books I've read
Yeah.
recently. That
so
preview.
it's been highly rated. I just ordered it. We'll see what happens. And that's really all I've been up to, working for Metamesh. Spending time in Hack, Pittsburgh.
Okay,
Hack, Pittsburgh is an awesome place.
we got these. We didn't cheers either.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought of that.
Yeah, there you go. So,
Fucking up left.
there you go. Cheers.
Nostravi.
All right, good.
And Hack, Pittsburgh, of course, is where I etched our glasses. And the glasses, which, by the way, you can purchase.
Yes.
Go to Facebook and just say that you want to order one, or go to Southside Comics. He has the ones with the logo. And if you would like your name or really anything, really, etched onto the glass, $5 fee, and it's all going towards charity.
Yep.
But ask your wife first.
Ask
Somebody will understand that.
Yeah, someone will understand that.
Shots fired.
Yeah, that's all for me.
Hey, Monkey, would you mind taking some pictures? Okay, so yeah, J-Man, Greg, what you doing?
Mine actually ties in a little bit with Logan.
Okay.
I watched that Shane movie.
Oh, you watched it?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'd already seen it, but I
Right.
wanted to see it again.
Right.
And heck, that movie came out in 1953.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
watch it and you're like, what the fuck? Like, they did such a good job. Like,
Yeah.
1953.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Okay. Yeah.
Good. I was going to say I meant to watch it since we saw the movie a week ago, and I think I just like it was back ordered wherever I was looking, and I just didn't get around to it because when I was younger, I remember my dad and brother talking about it, and I just never got around to seeing it. It's just one of the ones that I missed. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, I've actually haven't seen it.
Jesus.
But so I've only seen the parts that were in that movie.
If you like Westerns, you'll definitely like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 50s, just to roll off what you said real quick, was a great time for amazing Western anti-hero films. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, High Noon, Shane, those are three great exemplifications of the Western classic anti-hero, and all well-made. And I used to teach a politics and film class, and those three films were in it. So check them out, all three of them.
Yeah, I'll watch Shane at some point.
I have it if you want to borrow it.
Okay. What have I been doing? Or do you want to go?
No.
How's School of Rock going?
Oh, that I've been like saying anonymously, like, oh, this place where I work, but that's one place where I teach.
Should I not have said that?
No, it's fine. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. I guess I was just like avoiding giving them plugs. But,
Don't you want more students? I don't know. That
I
might help.
guess I don't know.
He doesn't get paid anymore.
Oh my gosh.
No, because like if I get any more, then some douche nugget will just take them away from me. That's,
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
I know that story.
yeah,
People just shoot all over the place. Shots fired again.
yeah,
Somebody better call the police.
asshole. Anyway,
They deserve it.
no, it's fine. They, I mean, one thing that's kind of cool about that is that they're doing like they do themes for their concerts. So like the one group that I coached is doing I think like we're doing we're doing a Detroit theme. So like the 8 or 10 songs that I'm having them do, it's like I'm having them do like a combination of garage rock bands like MC5 or whatever and Motown stuff. So they're like the more rockin' end of that. So
You're gonna start him off with him playing gay bar,
That's
Electric Six.
yeah.
that's a great idea. I'll propose it and just like I think I'll play it for the class, for the class, the band, like the 7 or 8 people that are in the group that I coach, just like with a straight face, just to watch the reactions.
There's also Detroit Rock City.
No, I hate Kiss.
I know you do.
That's a good movie though.
It is a good movie.
That is a great movie.
They wouldn't let you do it anyway, right? 'Cause it's got like bad stuff in it.
Detroit
Anything
Rock- the song
Are they
has
that
bad stuff
strict?
in it?
yeah,
What's
they're
the
super
first
strict.
I
What was the
drink and I
stupid thing
smoke?
that they denied?
Oh, there was okay. There was just like a satellite thing. It was like an outreach, not outreach. That's giving it way too much credit. We were going to a local grade school, and because my boss like set up this deal. Oh, sure, we'll come to your grade school and like haul all this gear there, and set up and like have people like 10-year-olds come and like play it for an hour, and then we'll like load up all this gear again. It takes like more than an entire afternoon to do all this stuff, and and he wasn't there to help, but at least that time, like half the time. Anyway, yeah, they wanted to do Seven Nation Army from the White Stripes. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like it's a riff. I guess it's a decently constructed song. So we were doing it, and like the one kid, the second week, like after he came back, he was like, "My mom says this song is inappropriate."
Oh God! Oh yeah, that's right. You told me
Wait,
that.
what?
Yeah.
I
And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with your mom?
Yeah.
And
what about that? Nothing in that song is inappropriate. What?
because back and forth through my mind behind a cigarette, because it mentions cigarette.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
then like I spent the rest of the class, like not the rest of the class, but like I had to go through it for like a couple of minutes, and like because then everybody's gun shy. Then like, well, what about this? They say hell in there, like hounds of hell. Okay, well, what else rhymes with that? And I think at one point, it's like in the third verse, it's like, so I'm bleeding and I'm bleeding and I'm bleeding right before the Lord. Can't mention Lord. Oh shoot! So yeah, like it gets. It's like a lot of stuff passes until one person complains, and then they get really stupid with it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm not happy. Well, whatever. Anyway, then I went to Detroit. Detroit Rock City wouldn't even get that far with me in the room.
Oh no.
Also, oddly enough, that band's from New York. Kiss is, even though they did like a. Funny enough, Nick, my one coworker, was like, "Oh yeah, you could do Detroit Rock City." I'm like, "No," and I said they're from New York. Besides, like I didn't even have the heart to tell him that I hate the band that he loves so much. And he said, "No, but it's cool because like their one live album was recorded in Detroit, so it'd be sweet." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I've got a bootleg of Led Zeppelin playing in Detroit at one point. Can I do a Zeppelin song?" Like, no. We can pretend to be more intelligent than we are, at least that much. Anyway,
as soon as some kids' parents had heard the lyric, "First I drink, then I smoke."
Yeah,
That's what I was just. Yep.
Yeah, like that's it.
could do the kids' bop version.
yeah.
Should do the kids' bop version of Thrift Shop.
There is a kids' bop version.
I know. I
It's-
played it at trivia.
Oh, that's
before.
right. You have. It's
Yeah,
terrible.
It's awful. What? It's so shit.
No, it's really bad. Most kids' bop things are.
This is really awesome. So shitty. I think I have a shitty flute version of that song too. I think. I just downloaded a bunch of shitty flute.
I like that.
Fairly recently. You guys have heard the shitty flute stuff, right?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Oh my god,
Yes.
Jared, maybe I'll put a sample in here just for.
You should. No, really.
Shitty
People
flute
need to
song.
hear how shitty it is.
If you're listening to this on headphones, you should probably turn down right now.
They're,
So-
what is it exactly? They're
It's-
flute versions of songs.
Basically, someone just takes like a karaoke like track and plays a recorder over top of them, but like really badly.
Yeah. Like in one of those high school ones, or middle school.
Yeah, and it's and sometimes if there's two instruments, there's a recorder and like either a kazoo or like a shitty one of those little trumpets, those like the ones that sound like I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
But it's funny
It's really funny.
and shitty.
Yeah, and if you turn it up too loud, especially on like a big system like that, people get pissed because it's like you're in a room with someone playing a recorder really loudly, and real bad. It's like every squeak, people just like they're flinching. It's great. So
What are you doing?
Well, this weekend we partied for about I don't know like
3 days?
48 hours. No, we're not quite 48 hours, like 36 hours. And then I played a show down at the American Serbian Club in the South Side with Mark, who wrote our theme song, which we actually played live at the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I saw someone posted a video and you sounded pretty good.
Well, thanks. We had the band learn the theme song and we played it.
That's awesome.
And Dan and Chris, the three of us sang it.
Oh, shit.
Cool.
Yeah, so there's a version of that somewhere. I think Rob had it on his phone.
Nice.
So we'll put that up on our page whenever we get the live performance of Grown-Up Human Comic People, the theme song.
Cool.
And then after we did that, just came back here and got real fucked up, and it was fun. Nothing really crazy happened, I don't think, but that's about it. I'm caught up on Legion. Legion's real sweet now.
Yeah. Oh, I
Fifth
love Legion.
Yeah, 5th episode is.
That unrealistic narrator is just so well done. More well done than I've ever seen another unrealistic narrator kind of thing done.
Unreliable narrator?
Unreliable. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. Gosh.
Yeah.
I'm not a very smart person. unreliable narrator because he's insane. I mean,
Oh, yeah, you're not sure exactly what's real ever.
yeah.
Which is awesome. So if you're not watching Legion, you should do that.
And I pointed out on the group text that Aubrey Plaza's character, Sid Barrett, is modeled after the Pink Floyd.
Sid Barrett.
Yeah, Sid Barrett, yeah.
Yeah.
Even in appearance.
Yeah, she does look like him.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look up Sid Barrett, you're like, oh, that's definitely her.
That's definitely Sid Barrett.
Yeah.
Can I give one quick shout out?
Yeah.
Just wanted to say hi and thank you to my home care nurse, Dove Marcus, who is not only a home care nurse, but a rabbi, father of 4, and a fellow podcaster. So happy Purim, because that's this weekend. It's Jewish Halloween.
Oh.
And he's a super cool guy who listens to our podcast. So,
Okay.
Hey, Dove, you're awesome.
Hey.
Jewish Halloween.
Jewish Halloween, Purim.
The fuck is that?
I'm a horrible Jew. I don't know.
Yes,
I'm
you
not
are.
sure what it
I mean, I know
represents.
the word.
He told, so they do get dressed up. In fact, his kids were doing superheroes, which he told me about because he knows I do this podcast and he listens to it sometimes. And I forget what he's going to be, probably a criminal or something. He said something in direct relation to what his 4 boys are dressing up as. And
Right.
but I heard they get shittier candy.
Oh.
Kind of like how Hanukkah, they don't get as good gifts.
Well, do they
Right.
just like? How do they get candy? Because they don't go around the neighborhood. 'Cause
I honestly
I've
don't
never
know.
seen.
I am not any part Jewish, so I don't know.
Yeah, I know that. I only
I'm
know
sorry,
the name of that
Dove.
holiday. I don't know what the procedure is. I have
I'm
no
sorry,
idea.
Dove. But yeah, I mean, he was just like, yeah, Jewish Halloween. I'm like, cool.
Although some of the candy you get up at what's it called over at on Squirrel on Murray Avenue, there's a Jewish store.
Yeah, well, there's a few.
Well, the one Pinsker.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Some of their candy is better than regular candy. Like they have those little gummy fruit slices, but
Those
they're
are
kosher
good.
ones. The kosher ones are fucking amazing.
And they've got those gold coins that are from German chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, it's just delicious. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not going to agree that the Jewish candy is not as good because it's sometimes much better.
I think it's most. I guess they're going for quality over quantity in terms of like,
Sure.
because you've always got that asshole neighbor who gives up raisins, pennies, and you know.
Oh, yeah, just bags of pennies. Like that was the worst.
Yeah.
Usually talking about your friends as you keep walking.
We
Start
had-
throwing at people.
We had an insane cat lady neighbor 2 blocks away that gave away ketchup packages and other condiments from like Wendy's, but she just
That's cool.
It was clear she needed help because she really thought it was great, and she wasn't doing it to be cruel or funny. She needed help, but ketchup packets.
I like ketchup just fine.
I think what would be great,
Ketchup. I'm the
actually.
worst Pittsburgher.
I'm gonna have. You just gave me a great idea.
Oh, God,
I'm gonna-
Greg.
No. It's not that elaborate. All I'm gonna do, I'm gonna still give out candy. But if somebody comes in a shitty costume, I'm just gonna give them ketchup packets.
If you get like that 19-year-old kid who's clearly just wants free food.
Actually,
Yeah,
I don't
in
mind
jeans and
that.
a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I would gladly sooner give a 19-year-old dressed in a costume candy than a 12-year-old who is just like wearing a Steelers jersey saying like I'm a Steelers fan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do it to children though, because sometimes there's poor kids who can't afford costumes. But
That's
if it's like a teenager or an adult, ketchup packet.
If you're older than 12 and you
Yeah.
still have a shitty costume on, go just to stay home.
Yeah.
Like
He's definitely not poor if he has a Steelers.
Oh
whatever
yeah,
on.
those
That's
are really
expensive shit.
expensive.
That's true.
Yeah, so they don't get a pass.
Anyway,
The whole point of this episode is so we can talk about Logan, which just came out. It's the Wolverine movie. It's the last Wolverine movie. It's the swan song for Hugh Jackman as the Wolverine. I guess what initial reactions around the table? We'll go this way, Greg.
Oh man, I gotta say, like so in the interviews or like comments from Hugh Jackman leading up to it, he said like, oh, this is. I guess he was like going back and forth, like, oh, this might be my last one, and then eventually saying that's definitely the last one. And I imagine anybody listening to this episode, we're not going to avoid spoilers or anything, so you get it when watching it. Like, yeah,
spoiler alert.
yeah, it's. I just got to say, like, this is such a. I mean, my initial reaction. I'm there in the theater, and I was in the like the only 2 X-Men oriented movies that I have seen in the theater were in 2000. My mom drove myself and my buddy Jason to the Distinta Theater in Bridgeville to see the first X-Men movie. And I remember that. And I remember like being there in the back row and like that cage fight. You see him with his back to the camera, and And Buddy leans over and says, "Oh, it's Wolverine," and I'm like, "Oh, sweet," because like we had both seen the '90s cartoon, so like that was the first appearance of that character on screen. I was in the theater, and here I am in the theater watching this movie 17 years later, thinking to myself, I'm going to fucking watch Wolverine die? Is that what's happening right now? Like, it's come so far. Yeah, huge impact on me. If for that, even if the rest of the movie sucked, which it doesn't, in my opinion, that's, it's momentous for anybody who has seen all the movies. It's like, I happen to disagree with Hugh Jackman because he sorry, I'm like going beyond the initial reactions, but fuck it, I'll say this later. Okay.
Jer?
I never thought I would see an X-Men or Wolverine thing that I liked ever.
Yeah.
Because everyone is so disappointing.
Yeah.
Every time you get your hopes up, and then it's just like, boop, nope, piece of shit. Thought it was going to be great.
Like I was seeing the poster for like, the Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
it was, like,
have
that cool,
that framed, hanging in my place. It's near my TV.
It's fucking awesome.
Because it's an awesome poster.
Yeah.
It didn't say Wolverine on it.
Nope.
It just has a picture of him with his claws up, and it's like a black and white.
It's like
painting.
Yeah, it's like a Japanese style. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. I remember seeing that poster and be like, "This is gonna be cool as fuck," and it wasn't.
And it was a piece of shit.
Yeah, it was a piece of shit. Wow, Beck.
Okay. I kept this to myself, to everyone but Monkey and Greg. I did not enjoy it at all.
What?
It's a very unpopular opinion. I went in expecting to love it, given the almost universal praise, not only from them, but you guys, who you and I usually agree on mostly all things. Hell, you got me to convince me to like Grizzly fucking Shark. Yeah. I went in expecting, hoping to love it. By the middle of the film, which is long, by the way, I was hoping to like it. By the end of the film, all I did was respect it, and for what it is, and that is a Western anti-hero homage, swan song to two of the most beloved Marvel characters, which is Wolverine and Professor X. And I respect it for what it is, but I have to admit, I didn't enjoy it at all. And I have reasons for that, and I was really looking forward because you guys are always great, bouncing off points. So I'll just say that.
Okay. I loved it. I thought Greg's reaction when we were in the theater was perfect because I think you guys asked, like, was there anything after the credits? And we were like, no, there's nothing after the credits. Mm-hmm. And you were like, I think I just kind of want to sit here for a minute.
Really?
And I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. That Johnny Cash song plays during the credits, and I'm just sitting there, like, digesting what I just saw.
That was a perfect song for that, by the way.
Yeah. What's it called? The Man. It's something about the man.
When the man comes around, I think.
Especially with the Western Shane theme.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's a perfect song to end that movie with. And it's just, I don't know, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. Yeah. And as I agree with Jared, like, I never thought that I would actually see one of those movies that I thought was real awesome. Mm-hmm. Like, some of them are fine. Like, X2 is cool. Mm-hmm. I'll watch that.
Yeah, I like X2. We've said that the first X-Men film is dated, but not bad.
And First Class is good.
Oh, I like First Class.
I think
Days of Future Past isn't bad.
I think out of the newer cast, Days of Future Past is the best, in my opinion.
Yeah, you might be right.
Then First Class?
I think so.
Yeah.
Wow.
At the end of First Class kind of sucks. Like, the very end, I don't know.
It
seems kind of silly.
And like, I think my favorite part is like whenever Wolverine travels back, kicks those guys' asses, and then steps out of the apartment building, and he's like, you hear the music, he looks at the cars, he's like, all right, he's wearing the jacket. Like, he already looks like he's from the 70s anyway.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Anyway.
So things that... Well, why don't we start with things you did like about the movie, and we'll go to things you didn't like about the movie. Maybe your favorite parts, like what are your really strong points that stick out?
I almost feel like it's easier to go on the... Well, I mean, I guess that would be putting more back in the flow. I can think of way fewer things that I didn't like, but I didn't actually mean to go first. But I guess I will. If there's anything, I guess I'll try to say things that I didn't like first, which is hard. I'll say this: like I was expecting. I think I even because we were speculating a little bit based on the trailers what our reactions might be, and up until this point, I think Jared's sort of on point because he said like no movie has been. I feel like it's kind of an exaggerated statement to say like, oh, they've all sucked until now, because I didn't hate the Wolverine. It was only after the fact, like, I guess I realized what potential they did not live up to with that, and I still think that X1 is watchable and everything, but
I like it.
yeah, this one, more than watchable, but this one, like, I was thinking, okay, what can possibly go wrong with Logan based on what I'm seeing in the trailers, and I'm seeing, Xavier, Wolverine, and I knew that it wasn't going to be able to do all the stuff that's in Old Man Logan, but I saw the girl, and I thought, is it going to be like all sappy or stupid or anything? Like I think I vocalized to whom I can't remember, but I hope they're not going to be too sad. I can't remember if I said it on an episode. I hope that they're not going to play up like a relationship between Wolverine and this girl much. And I was glad to see that they didn't. I don't think that they made it, more than it should have been. By the end of it, like as he's fading away, and she's calling him dad or daddy at that point. That's like, I guess if I were directing the movie, I probably wouldn't have directed her to say that, but it didn't bother me that it was in there by that point. So
I agree with that.
That's about it. Yeah. As far as what I liked, my God. Should we go around on stuff that we didn't like first, or should I?
Yeah, just do stuff you didn't like first.
Okay.
Stuff I didn't like?
Did not. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I had stuff that I did like. I'm going with that. I don't care.
Okay.
Violence. It was so violent, which it needed to be. Because he has knives that come out of his hands. If he fights Cyclops will die. And it will be horrible.
Yeah.
There are so many, like, it doesn't matter what your powers are. Like, there are so many other superheroes, supervillains who can't stand up against knives.
Yeah.
He would kill them.
Well, and also knives that are going to cut through almost any other material.
And they're like the
Unless
sharpest
it's
knives imaginable.
Yeah, they're sharp, and they're indestructible.
Yeah.
So he can literally stab through any fucking
How we've had
anything.
so many movies without him actually stabbing somebody in the face is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some of the other movies like he will be cutting people, but it doesn't show the results of what he's just done. He just does he'll do like a slice, and then something will fall over, and he'll just like the shot will continue to move.
Or like a convenient kick or some bullshitty.
Yeah, or he'll just like hit them with his fist, which is, his hand's metal too, so it's like, okay, I guess that's whatever. But
He'll stab them in the torso.
Yeah.
Or like a light slash or something, which is just less graphic than seeing 3 knife wounds in a person's face.
yeah, there were a couple times in the first opening bit where that gang is jumping or whatever.
Yeah.
He stabs one guy up through like his chin, like real shallow into his face, so the claws actually do come out of his face.
Yeah.
And it's just like, holy fuck.
He lops an arm off.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Limbs,
Yeah.
multiple limbs.
Oh yeah, it's just it's a Wolverine movie. It's an actual Wolverine movie.
Yeah.
Because Wolverine does some horrific shit. He's the best at what he does, and what he does is not very nice.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his past as well.
Yeah.
So the future and his end is probably not going to be pretty. And again, that I respect.
Yeah.
Look, I didn't like the film. I have talked about this with Greg. Just give me a few minutes because I didn't like much about the film, and I actually like being disagreed with because I'd really like to hear your guys' opinions about this. So just give me a few.
Sure.
The first is, I'm glad I brought those Skittles. The first is that I wanted to know what type of amazing, intelligent, all-powerful villain was going to be able to take down, what adversary, what antagonist was going to be able to take down, if not the most powerful, which Professor X is, then 2 of the most beloved last mutants on Earth. And Xander Rice just runs like a corn syrup company. Like, are you telling me that he took down, after all these X-Men movies, took down all the mutants by poisoning the water well? That's essentially what happened. Now, again, this movie's focus is on Logan and Professor X. So that I didn't so much care about. I liked Pierce in the idea of the Reavers because it seems like they were more of a worthy adversary than Xander Rice, who, by the way, after he gives his incredibly stereotypical Dr. No speech, gets shot or killed right in the middle of it, and I like that. But it just seems like, really? This is the guy that brought down all of the mutants? And that was the first thing I really disliked because it seemed lame. But again, the focus is on Logan, and that's okay.
I can't disagree with that, by the way, the underdevelopment of the villains.
Yeah. But again, it's already in my opinion, a very long film, and I bet you there's some extended cut that explains more about Xander Rice, because he's Stryker's dad.
Son, I think.
Son, sorry.
Yeah.
He's Stryker's son, the one who put the adamantium.
It's not Stryker's son, it's one of the other scientists. One
Oh,
of the
okay.
scientists'
All
sons.
right. I was about to say, because Xander Rice, that wouldn't make sense, but Stryker's a nickname. I didn't know if that was...
No, William Stryker.
William
is in there.
Stryker.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
His son is in X2. It's the one that...
That's
has
right.
the-
That's right. Okay,
As,
sorry.
as Deadpool says, these timelines are so confusing.
Yeah. Well,
to respond to the mutant thing, it wasn't the gene therapy in the water that took down the X-Men themselves. They imply that Professor Xavier did that.
Yeah. No, Becky's talking about mutants all over.
Mutants
No,
all over.
I get that. I'm saying
Professor
they
Xavier
didn't.
said
Which is
that-
part, look, if I had to point out something that I didn't like, now that I've been thinking about it, that was kind of, for me, tough. How they didn't explain that very well at all.
He said that he took down people all around Westchester.
The Westchester incident, you mean?
Yeah.
No, see, I
But
like that.
if you, that's the thing though, but if you're just going into this just to watch this movie and don't know anything about comic books, you would be like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Well-
You needed a little bit of knowledge to understand that part of the plot. And it's pretty key too.
I didn't think that was that much of a key because the X-Men. Okay, so the way here's from what I understand, what I got from the movie, was that the mutants weren't necessarily all wiped out. They just stopped being mutants, because the whatever gene therapy and stuff was in food and water and shit eliminated the X gene. So they stopped being born. It wasn't that they died or they were poisoned or anything like that. They're just like, oh well, all these mutants just eventually died because they got old or they got killed or whatever, and because they said that there are still some left. Xavier and Logan aren't the two last
Caliban
ones.
is an example of that, but he also worked with the Reavers, so
Right,
they let him
Caliban's-
live.
Sure, and some of them were probably hunted down. The
Sure.
point is that no new mutants were being born.
Okay.
It wasn't like an active poisoning of mutants. It was just whatever which I think is a more realistic solution that the government might measure. The government might take. It's why would we try to put all these mutants in camps or whatever, make them outlaws instead of we could just make sure that no more mutants are born, just by doing this simple thing by putting one drop per million of this therapy into all the water supply.
Yeah.
That makes them actually really reasonable to me. And the Westchester incident thing I really liked because they didn't really say whether it was Xavier or if it was Logan that were responsible for killing.
I thought that was clearly Xavier.
Yes.
Because his seizure started and he can't control killing people.
Right. I think that it was pretty strongly implied that it was Xavier, but in Old Man Logan, the book, Wolverine is the one who is tricked by Mysterio into murdering all the fellow X-Men. So, I don't know. I like that they didn't say exactly what happened because it allows us for a conversation like this. Where it's
I like that as well, actually.
What happened? We don't really know. It's really not important. The point is that all the X-Men are gone, and one or both of them are responsible for that. And so they're both have this heavy burden on, or maybe Wolverine didn't kill Xavier or something like that, so he feels like he was responsible. Whenever Xavier had his seizure and was killed all the rest of the mutants, maybe Wolverine didn't. He might have been the only survivor and could have killed Xavier before everyone else was killed. Maybe, if he was in the same room with him or
They
something.
did say he was less affected too. That's
well,
why he could
also has
move.
the healing
Exactly.
ability. I mean, that's why he survived it. But, so the reason why I thought it was a poison almost against mutants is because Logan says quite consistently throughout the film, I know what the poison is inside of me.
Oh no, it's the adamantium.
That's killing him.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's consistent with the books too, because the adamantium it's essentially it would be it's like lead poisoning.
Oh, yeah, lead poisoning, yeah.
The only reason why he's the only mutant that has bones like that is because of the healing factor, and it actually taxes his healing factor 24 hours a day all the time.
And I think there's been some Lady Deathstrike where she has similar issues where it poisons her, like mercury or lead
Exactly.
poisoning.
It's metal poisoning. So and I think we talked about, and maybe on the podcast text X-23 and how she might suffer the same fate because she has metal claws too. Mm-hmm. But I'm pretty sure in the book or in the movie they say something about, because it shows her on the surgical table and it just shows her claws out, and I think they may have only applied the metal to her claws.
No, she has that foot. She has the feet claws. Because remember, she snaps.
I'm saying it said adamantium applied to sites
Right.
23 and 48 or whatever. It's like I think it might have just been her claws, like all three of her claws. That
Yeah, I think it's
have adamantium because I don't know.
So I think in the book she loses limbs sometimes and grows them back and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But-
Also, like how I was wondering how would she grow? Because she's a little
Exactly.
girl, and if they made her skeleton adamantium,
yeah.
like how would she?
That's probably
grow?
why.
Through the magic
Right.
of fiction.
No, but that would make sense though. Like, I mean, we can infer that like they would. I like to apply logic where they don't necessarily spell it out. It would make sense to not, constrict her growth.
her whole bone
You know,
structure.
Jason.
Yeah,
They're
I
trying to
think
be
it's
as
just-
logical as possible with it by saying it'll poison people and shit like that. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying I think that they're consistent. I think that I'm pretty sure they're trying to say that only her claws are metal and not the rest of her bone
Oh,
structure.
rest of her bones. Okay, I see
Yeah.
what you mean. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
so
misunderstood.
she probably is not going to have the same be as affected as severely as Logan would be.
However, she's gotten it earlier in her life. Logan didn't have the adamantium applied until the Weapon X,
True.
Whatever. So, like, which I like because then theoretically, had he never had the adamantium applied, he could have lived forever.
Exactly. Yeah, he wouldn't have ever gone old.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't be breaking his body down.
Yeah, and I like that explanation for the, taking outside of the realm of fiction, to, like, the actor aging. If anyone were to say, like, well, then how come, like, from the first movie to the seventh movie, he looks that much older?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's because Hugh Jackman's older, but
Yeah.
it
People
makes
say that
Well, he
all the
played
time, which is-
X-24,
Yeah.
which was like, his younger self.
They did a
only
good
more-
job of that, by
Yeah,
the way.
they did a
Yeah.
very great job.
yeah.
Can I just get my other 2 points that I just
Yeah.
looked at?
Yeah, sure.
So, one, I found that it was too long, and my second criticism in that point of view is that it was also ultra violent. But I get in that what Wolverine does in his past, it kind of needed to be. Fair enough. That poor farmer's family, it just seemed like an unnecessary killing to forward
man.
the plot. And
I like that.
That was rough.
But so here's something, and I know Greg didn't, at least at the time, have an answer for this. So the mutant children from Xander Rice and the Reavers experiments are escaping to Canada. You're telling me that an all-powerful, evil antagonist who has basically wiped mutants off the face of the earth can't cross the border to Canada? Is Justin Trudeau that handsome that he's like gonna keep them repelled away from that border?
I don't think that he was. I would describe him as all powerful. He's just like a shady government.
I was being
dude.
facetious, but my point is like there are mutants all over the world. They've said at least in 3 times that mutants all over the world are not being born; they're gone, and there's only a handful or so left, not including the children that they bred themselves from.
Right.
So is Canada gonna stop them?
I don't know. I mean, I think that especially given the climate of today's political
Political climate.
establishment, in the future, like the border being like heavily guarded, that makes sense. Like I would do that. That totally follows with what I would think that like, in the future. It's like, well, if you want to get across the border to Canada, like all it takes is like one real fucking crazy thing to happen,
Yeah.
and we're just like, well, guess it's basically impossible to get to Canada now. Like that's it'll just take one incident. And then you're like, okay, we're going to need your passport. We're going to need your photo ID. You're going to have to apply like 3 months in advance. You're going to need a visa, like all this shit. Like I don't think that's unreasonable at all to think that the Canadian borders in the future will be like super heavily guarded.
Yeah, the
Right,
fact,
but do you think an evil suit like a villain in the Marvel universe can't get past it?
I would think that if he wouldn't be able to use his U.S. government clout for it. They'd be like, yeah, this is out of your jurisdiction. Like, sorry,
But
you
but
can
he's
file the right
banished.
paperwork if you want.
But he's banished mutants from all over the world using his both business and political power. I don't see how Canada's just this almighty.
that may have been.
They're
like
going
a-
to send Montreal after him.
I mean, that may have been. I'm sure it didn't like the label on the water bottles didn't say, this will repel the X gene. It's like they might have been getting it out there in whatever subversive ways, but like with the intended effect of the vanquishing the mutant genes and stuff.
Yeah,
I don't
like,
know.
it's one thing to like use your kind of political influence and whatever, like maybe your connections within the food and water industry to like slip in these little things.
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing to be like to like take a convoy of armed dudes into a different country because you're hunting like children. That would, I think that would be a way more difficult proposition. Like the border guys can be like, yeah, no, what are you doing? What are these guns? No. Turn the fuck around and have your like call the embassy or something like that.
Well, they did it in Mexico. I don't know. I just see that like it's a very poor board. Like it's just a very paltry obstacle for that. And this is my final criticism. That's like so. And a classical Western anti-hero, which clearly this was an homage to, given its Shane relations. Professor Xavier's Watching Shane, which is a great movie, by the way, early 1950s Western film. Give it a watch. But along with The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance and High Noon, as well as a handful of others, I don't know, you feel an emotional connection. And while I felt an emotional connection due to my respect and love for Marvel characters and the X-Men, especially Xavier, who, by the way, takes the same anticonvulsant I do. Just putting that out there. Yeah, I noticed that. I had no emotional connection for X-24 and Laura. None. She screamed annoyingly through 3/4 of it, and when she finally does talk, it's great. I just wish she would have talked earlier, and I understand why she didn't. And I kind of agree that there shouldn't have been, like, I found the same thing that you did, Greg, like that daddy at the very end, he's not his dad. That just seemed forced. I felt no emotional connection, where usually in a Western anti-hero film you feel this like emotional connection, especially in Shane. I don't know. I did not enjoy it, but that's not to suggest I don't respect it.
I thought that the maybe her saying like "daddy" at the end was a little bit forced, but as far as the connection, I liked that. I thought that she was fantastic with like her, because she didn't talk until like 2/3 of the way through the movie.
But she's still a great actor. I mean, she's
was
expressive.
Great. Yeah, all of her expression, like everything was. She was great as far as like being able to emote things without saying anything. It's really difficult to do, and
especially for a young actress.
Yeah, and you could even tell. I mean, that's also direction. That's direction. That's a really great directing. But you could tell, like, whenever because she a lot of times she was angry, but also you could tell that these other like more subtle emotions at play. Like, she doesn't exactly understand a lot of stuff because she's been locked up in a room her whole life.
The only human interaction she has is that nurse who tried to give her human emotions. Right.
And so like her like Xavier kind of be like a grandfatherly figure with her. Like I loved all the scenes with the two of them. Like how she would like always hold his hand.
Yes.
Because she was not used to anyone holding her hand. Like she like that was like a. Isn't that something? Was that in Shane?
It's Shane. It's Shane. It's a Shane reference. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. And I didn't think she needed to talk until.
No, I'm not criticizing so much her lack of talking. I'm just maybe I just had a headache at the time. Just the annoying screaming that took the place of talking. Her silence would have been much better, but yeah. Apparently, she has the same pout I do because 4 of my friends separately saw the movie and texted me that I have the same pout.
Well, I mean, you guys look similar.
Really?
Yeah. She definitely looks a little bit like you.
I have a Spanish actress mini-me going around. That I think is cool.
She's like you. Very much like you.
No, as I'm seeing like the two of you talking right now, like her like as I'm watching Becky watch Jared as he disagrees with her, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that looks like a X-23 when she's angry.
That I think is pretty cool.
Yeah,
I've had at least 4 people who separately saw the film come and tell me that. But I mean, again, that's the end of my criticisms. But I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. You guys saw the film together and without me because I was sick. So I went in expecting it to just be like the greatest film ever, and maybe that had something to do with it. But,
yeah,
and it could be because social watching films is a very social thing because you're looking at each other and how you view things and how you took away things from the movie, especially something as momentous as this, and a huge goodbye to 2 of Marvel's beloved characters.
Yeah.
So, but the one thing I did like, I wanted to put that out there, is, I mean, well, first of all, I like Hugh Jackman, and I love Patrick Stewart, and Patrick Stewart, it's weird because I thought after I had complained to Greg after I saw it that, the villains kind of suck, the lack of the story. Maybe it's not really the villains that took them out, but time itself. I mean, Patrick Stewart's sick. He's lived for a long time, and he has seizures and all these other issues, and maybe ultimately that's what takes him out, not so much X-24.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't. I mean,
That I liked, actually.
I didn't think the villains. I mean, they weren't strong villains, but I didn't think they needed to be. Like they were kind of an afterthought. Like the only because two of the three main characters basically can't be killed. So you're not talking about like some characters where you're afraid for their safety, because you're definitely not. You're not really afraid for X-23's safety, because short of like that whole battalion of dudes like jumping on top of her and somehow restraining her. They're not. They can't kill her. They pretty much can't kill Wolverine either. So you're only really worried about like Xavier's safety, kind of, but Xavier is also like crazy powerful. So
Of course.
it's not so much that the bad guys are like a threat to. I don't know. It's the movie's more about like Wolverine.
Yeah.
His like last,
Hurrah.
well, trying to help somebody that. Like, after having been beaten down, like, ground into the fucking dirt for, like, 200 years, him, like, still finding the fortitude to be like, all right, I'm going to help this little girl.
Right.
And, like, 'cause most people would be like, nah, fuck this, I'm just going to sit, I'm in this barn. Or, like, he would have just been like, those guys roll up on his farm. He's like, you know what, just fucking take this chick. I don't care. Whatever. Just get out. Leave us alone.
Yeah.
We don't care. But he finds that, whatever, inner...
I mean, that's something I liked about it
Yeah.
a lot. I mean, you're right. Xavier is one of the most powerful mutants, and although X-24 look what's killing him, his own body.
Yeah.
Seizures, by the way, which suck.
Same with Wolverine. Both of them are...
Yeah, oh yeah.
Their bodies
Yeah.
are betraying them.
And we talked about this before. Laura, even though her exoskeleton might not be as toxic as Wolverine's adamantium skeleton, I was also thinking that Xander's company had that green...
that like super formula, the medicine.
Right, but they also have medicine that could possibly help her more in the future.
That's true too, and they kind of implied that Wolverine's his problem, the adamantium poisoning, was fixable with that medicine. The medicine, if you just like kept.
But maybe without his
enhancing
friends in the X-Men, he didn't find a reason to live.
Maybe that too. I mean, there's any number of reasons why he didn't go out of his way to like fix it. And also, he's just tired. He was just like,
Yeah.
I've been alive for. We discussed this on that text thing. So if you include Days of Future Past, and he has been in the same alternate timeline since the 70s.
Right.
He just added another mentally added another 40 or 50 or 60 years onto his life, depending on when he came back from.
Right.
Which is even crazier, because it's like, okay, you lived like 6 lifetimes, and you just add maybe another 1.5 onto that. So you're talking about a guy who's lived 10 times over or whatever, like a bunch of different lifetimes. That's really, I don't know what that would do to someone's mind if you were lived that long.
It's like our last podcast. Sorry, I just missed you saying that. But the perils of immortality or even long life.
Right.
I couldn't deal with that.
Yeah. It's
I
really,
want a set lifespan.
Yeah. And I don't think, our brains probably aren't even designed to work that way or to store. What we're talking about is the AD we're talking about, where it's like that's why those people forget. They start forgetting because their brain can only store 1 or 2 lifetimes worth of information, and then stuff starts slipping away.
Yeah.
Wolverine's plight is really, really, really grisly.
I think it's cool. I mean, him living so long, but that's me not having been alive as long, so it seems cool to me. I don't know. As far as I meant to say it earlier whenever it was more relevant. I'm kind of bringing it back now, but his connection to the girl, even if it's not exactly a father-daughter connection, which is why, as far as I can respect it for keeping some things vague, as far as how the X-Men died, and I don't think that they were meaning to imply the Mysterio thing from the books, because there's no mention of that.
No, I just meant that Wolverine could have stopped it.
Okay, okay, yeah. Well, anyway,
By killing Charles.
I guess if they were being intentionally vague with some things, I'm surprised that they were not more vague with the relationship between Laura and Logan. Because even if she just cried and held his hand while he died without saying the word daddy, we could have, some people who wanted to think of it as father-daughter would have believed that, and people who don't want to think of it as father-daughter would have not been bothered by that. Even so, for me, I'd rather not think of it as father-daughter because I think that you can have a bond even when it's not a parental bond. Like, he is the only other person like her.
Right.
And she's had such a short life. She's, the nurses, doctors, the assholes that she was being held by. She's unique. Even among her friends, she's the only one who has her own powers, her own abilities, or whatever. And now there's this guy who she is automatically drawn to respecting in a sense because he has dealt with this for so many more years than she has. They never say it, but I believe that she would have to respect whatever he has up in his noggin from living with that for so long. And
I was going to say
as a
it's
guide or
not
mentor.
so much a fatherly thing because I think, even the people, you guys who loved the film didn't like that daddy think it was overkill, but it's more than just an empathy. It's a sympathy just because of what we just talked about. He knows that she has long life. He knows that she has this healing ability and this that she's going to kill and has killed and has that sympathy and empathy and says, this is the only other person that in this world that can connect with me on that level.
Well, I'm not sure if you guys are forgetting or we didn't mention the fact that it's not like she doesn't know who he is.
Right, she knows.
She has the X-Men comic books. She's been hearing about him
and Isabella
he's
told
famous.
her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Isabella? Yeah.
And so Wolverine, the Wolverine is famous in that world, and so she not only does she know that he's out there, she knows that he has the same powers as she does, and she knows that she comes directly from him probably.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that she probably just has an idea of who. It's if you have like a favorite celebrity or something,
Right.
but the celebrity also happens to be technically
like
your
her.
parent. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I think that her nurse probably said this is technically your dad, and so her meeting him, all that silence at the beginning, I don't know what she's thinking, but she's probably oh, this is him. This is actually my kind of my dad, and
Absorb
he's
as much
also
as she
the
can.
Wolverine. Yeah, exactly.
Just a quick question, just because it was unclear. And I know that there was a lot of intentionally vague topics. One of the kids of Richter's crew, was she Storm's? Was there a girl who had Storm's powers? Her eyes clouded over and she controlled a little mini cyclone. And I'm like, oh, that's
maybe
Storm.
Maybe it's Storm.
I was just curious. That's all.
she made all that plant stuff.
Yeah.
The pine needles or whatever the hell.
But she made him into a cyclone and her eyes clouded over. And I said,
Yeah.
whoa, was that an intentional nod to Storm? Or maybe they got the genetic DNA from Storm.
From Aurora, yeah.
Just a question.
No, I'm sure that if we watched it again, there'd be a lot of little. I'd love to be able to pause it. Whenever they're flipping through that one, there's one bunch of files on everybody else, and then there's whenever there's the flashbacks, it shows computer screens and stuff.
Right.
Laura's number was X23, 23. The whole program was the X23 program. All the kids did 23, and then the Logan one is 24 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to go through and watch it at home and sit there and really look at all the Easter eggs and shit.
And after Caliban sacrifices himself, it's either Xander or Pierce who says, oh, take him, he's a powerful one.
Yeah.
Take samples.
Yeah.
But by the way, I don't think that it's it would not sit well with me if it were just Logan deciding to help one girl. I think for him, even before he met her, he was, without saying it outright, telling Xavier no, the X-Men are gone. There hasn't been a new X-Men. You could tell that he is unhappy that that mutants haven't been born in 25 years. Yeah. But now he sees that there are some, and if it's if the that gene is wiped out through the water, but then here are these artificially made, it's still out. The gene is still there. If he can get in that last battle where whenever he sees the drones going and the army guys coming to retrieve them, he's if I don't, I'm thinking that he realized if I don't help them, if they don't get across to safety, then there will never be any more mutants. But if I can help them, then perhaps mutants will flourish again. So it's more than just one girl, I think.
Yeah.
It's for the, do it for his friends that are now dead or whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a legacy thing.
Yeah, legacy, yeah.
Yeah. All right, any closing comments in this movie?
Let me see if there's other notes. I mean, Acting, I think, was solid all around. I was really impressed with Laura's, the girl who plays Laura, her performance.
She was great.
Did you take notes?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. The security head of security guy, the bad guy, thought it was like a poor man's Pierce. Yeah, poor man's Leonardo DiCaprio or Ryan Gosling.
I thought more Ryan just because of the accent.
Yeah, and they both suck. And see, it's not just females,
DiCaprio, I can't say that DiCaprio sucks. Come on,
I can.
Blood Diamond. He made Blood Diamond and one other movie like
Gangs in New York.
Was that the one in the same year? Like he made those two movies in the same. That's insane. Like his South African accent was really good.
It is
Blood
very
Diamond.
good.
And I forget what the other movie was. Anyway, it's like mind blowing that you can do two projects like that are totally different people and the same
and demanding.
I feel like I'm done giving him chances because every time somebody says like, "Oh, you don't like him? Well, have you seen this movie?" And I'm like, "No, okay, I'll go see it." And then I see it, and I'm really disappointed by that too. And I'm like, "Yeah, I was right the first time." And I've departed. I mean, so many things. Whatever.
What about Django?
Yeah,
it was a good movie despite him. Like he didn't make that part good or anything.
he was supposed to be an evil bastard.
Yeah, he was
played
still
it well.
just Leonardo DiCaprio. That's all. I mean, like anybody, like that would have been a good movie. Still, had anybody else been in that role, he didn't make that movie good. Anyway, doesn't matter. In the last, but Richard E. Grant, by the way, was the bad guy. This guy,
Xander Rice.
Yeah, he. The only other movie that I've seen him in was Hudson Hawk. I like that actor.
wow.
Okay,
Hudson
everyone, just wanted to put this out there. He looks, go ahead and look at pictures of him when he was 30. He looks exactly like Greg. I've told him this several times.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
looks
that guy
exactly
does
like
look
you.
like you.
You have the same bone structure, hair, and eyes.
Yeah, that's true.
I've told you this. In fact,
I wanna
the
see
first
this.
day I met you, I told you that.
No, I mean, even looking at him now, I'm thinking about I've seen that guy in a bunch of stuff, and like thinking about him, I was like, yeah, he does actually look a lot like Greg.
I'll take that. I like
don't
that
know if
guy.
you guys know that the first time I saw you at Midnight Rose play, I went up to him because I hadn't met Greg yet, and I said, "You look a lot like this actor. Yeah, you should look at." He's like, "Okay, whatever," and he just walked away. Sorry, Greg.
That's all right. Anyway, one thing that we hadn't really talked about was how this movie brings the feels. It brings the lump in the throat. You know what I mean? Oh, shut up, Becky.
Agree, disagree.
I gave you the floor when you were saying all those things that you didn't like. Okay, but I mean, so much like I guess a couple of the biggest moments. I mean, Patrick Stewart's last monologue in there, and like as that started, I was gonna say like my thought in the theater. I was briefly taken out of the movie because when the camera started to like the slow zoom in on him, and he's like, "Today was a perfect day," and I thought. Man, Xavier's about to do it for me because it's like I likened it. I didn't say this to anybody before, but if you're in a boxing ring and you have your arms tied to the ropes, you're in the corner, and George Foreman is approaching you, winding up for a punch. It's like you don't know quite what it's going to feel like, but you're going to feel a lot of it because you know how capable this guy is, and that's how I felt when Patrick Stewart was like just starting into that monologue, and like this is unavoidable. I'm about to get affected by this a lot.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, his performance was outstanding.
Well, I told you, I like Patrick Stewart, and I liked and respected his performance.
Yeah. Tragic also that like him opening up like that in one of his most lucid moments in the entire movie was lost because he was intending for Logan to hear all of that, and it wasn't even Logan hearing it. And the only thing Logan got to hear was, "Oh, the sun's secret," which is the clouded mind sort of thing that he's been saying the whole movie. So that's
It's so sad too, because like his whole life has been dedicated to like I'm trying to help mutants and help humans and mankind, and it just ended like they all got wiped out. They buried him just in the dirt somewhere.
Yeah.
In the middle of nowhere.
But she
was like,
oh,
damn,
Patrick
everything you
Stewart.
tried to do just completely failed.
Yeah.
But hey, Laura gave, Greg and I talked about this, Laura gave the predictable, albeit awesome moment where tilting the cross on Logan's grave
that was
into an
great.
X.
That was great.
That was super.
that was the next thing I was going to say after saying that,
Predicted that.
his shit. Sorry, I got derailed. That's easy for it to happen to me. He in that he sort of was saying when mentioning Westchester and everything, he was saying without saying that his he recruited everybody to their deaths. Like anybody who was in the school at the time was brought there because he brought them there, and they died a pretty painful death in their heads from him not being able to handle it or whatever. But lastly, the thing that I was going to say was that after the whole quoting fucking Shane in the a movie that she saw once part of with Xavier and understood enough to realize how applicable it is in this moment. Everybody leaves and the cross is there and that's appropriate and everything, and she's yanking on. I'm like, what is she? Oh,
I was like, what
God.
the fuck's she doing?
Yeah.
Oh, god damn, how
When they left the camera shot on the cross, I saw it with Monkey, and I'm like, if she tilts it into an X, I'm gonna die.
Why?
She goes, no, wait, I liked it, but I was just like, I had predicted a few moments throughout the movie, and because they had just kept the camera on it too long, and I'm like, that's what's gonna happen.
You're being so glass half empty.
No, look, there are things I liked about it as well. It's just, you gotta recall, and I'm not being contrary just to be contrary. I really didn't enjoy it, and I wanted to. I kind of want to go see it again just to see it, because I've heard you guys talk about it and what you like about it, and I want to go back and see the points. And I also had a headache during it, and her screaming kind of affected me.
Let me have this moment, Becky.
You liked something for once.
I saw this guy on screen in the year 2000 and in a cool cage fight moment, and now I'm looking at his grave with a cross on it, and his quasi offspring who once knew him only through these comics and through hearsay or whatever, understands him well enough just through that limited interaction that she pulls it. More important than the cross that's traditional is to put this unique marker of
that's especially because he's the last one.
Last
that's the last grave of the last.
Oh man,
god damn!
And it's his last performance, and it's this is the end of this thing.
I don't care if it's predictable for one person in this room. I
didn't give a shit about this predictable. I was just like,
I said I liked it.
Yeah.
I just said but I just give me the fact that I'm not just being contrary just to be contrary. I wanted to like it. I still do. I really do.
We're fine with it if you don't like it. We're just saying that you're wrong.
Also, I just want to be able to.
Adorable. By the way, I want to tell our listeners: look, if you like this, go see Shane. Jer saw it, and it's a great movie. If you love this anti-hero stuff, go watch Shane. Go watch The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Go watch High Noon, which is just amazing. Go watch these films. I think it would be a great introduction of Western anti-hero films for you.
While true, I will say that Logan has an advantage over all of those movies in the. Stop making your Laura X-23 face to me right now, okay? Allow me to speak. All right, it has.
I said nothing.
You
Looked at him while he was speaking.
Anyway,
you look at the ground when I talk to you.
It's like, Greg likes it. Let me say again why I don't like it. Anyway, no, it's. There are so many. This is the 9th X-Men appearance that he's. I mean, if you count the 2 cameos,
right.
There's so much leading up to this that. This is what I was starting to say earlier, is that I kind of disagree with Hugh Jackman. Radford was done. I went home and I watched a bunch of interviews with him online. One of them, he said that he wanted to be able to make a movie that when his kids or grandkids later, whenever they're watching these movies, if he can recommend one of these movies to them, he's like, oh yeah, this is the best one, watch this.
I'm sorry, who said that?
Hugh Jackman did.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm disagreeing with that is because one of the reasons why it's so impactful is because of everything that led up to it. And even if I were telling somebody to watch those movies before watching this one, it's still not going to be that impactful, because we're talking about a 17-year span of having seen all of these. It would be the closest comparison that I can make is Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan. One of the reasons why that scene, why Spock's death scene in that was so impactful, is because you had 3 seasons of Star Trek and then so much downtime, more than a decade of downtime, and then a movie and most of this other movie of this relationship that these 2 guys have, and then your relationship to that character. So, yeah, and a single movie like Shane, although well done, it's Logan just has a built-in advantage because you have so much leading up to it.
It's in the same way that if you watch Avengers Civil War or Captain America Civil War, they don't need to introduce almost any of those characters because you've seen most of them before. Mm-hmm. They're just like, hey, here's this truck. Ant-Man's inside. And you're like, cool, I like Ant-Man. That's awesome. He can just be like, all right, here's a funny line from Paul Rudd, and we're on our way. The movie's still going. It's not like, oh, by the way, we have to explain where Ant-Man came from. It's like, no, if you haven't seen Ant-Man, whatever. It's just take for granted this guy is here. Establishing these movies like the X-Men series or the Avengers series, all the advantage that they have is that they have this backstory. It's almost like comics where If you don't know it, it's not that big of a deal. But if you do know it, it makes it so much cooler and better.
I agree with that. And I liked the movie for the fact that you see Professor Xavier as this amazingly powerful yet restrained intellectual. And this is the first film where you just see him suffering an almost human disability, seizures, dementia. Maybe not dementia, but seizures, because again, with seizures comes memory loss. And it's just, if you love that character and obviously you love that character, it's just horrifying and debilitating to watch.
I think it was dementia because they said degenerative brain disease.
Right. Which can cause seizures.
Sure.
And, oh, man.
Yeah.
And I, by the way, empathize with his character because I have seizures. And just watching that going, every time I see it, even if it's on House and poorly written, I just go cringe a bit when someone has a seizure. But Patrick Stewart is such an amazing, emotional actor. And one thing I really loved about this was, again, it was a fitting, emotional goodbye to Patrick Stewart's character as Xavier.
Yeah. All right, so will you read it again? Greg?
I almost saw it again yesterday.
Okay.
Oh, yeah?
I want to see it again, yeah. Okay, man?
Yeah, I definitely would.
Yeah, I can see it again.
I will. And Greg, you and I should see it together, I think. You and I should go see it.
I would take that.
We'll go see it together.
All right, Greg and Becky are going to see it together.
Hey, we're birthday buddies. We gotta.
So, all right, that's probably enough for this episode.
You didn't say if you would.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did. I said I would.
Did you?
Okay.
I missed
All right.
that.
No, I missed it.
Yeah, yes, I will. I will see it again.
Okay.
Yes, confirmed. All right, so you can find us at grownuphumans.com, epicastnetwork.com/grownuphumans, iTunes, Stitcher, Facebook, YouTube, Grown Up Human Comic People, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram at grownuphumans. Check out Southside Comics. Check out Midnight Rose. Check out MetaMesh. Go to radicaltrivia.com. And everybody say goodbye. To my right, Becky.
Bye.
J-Man.
See ya.
Greg.
Later on.
My name's Jared, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye. What is proficiency?
Oh, don't do that.
Human
What?
comic